So again, we just finished part one, which is actually creating our company profile. So again, those exact questions that we just had is basically your Express Start. Now, if we have some time at the end of the day, I would like to actually go over the Express Start so you guys can kind of see the difference between that and doing the advanced setup. Now, of course, the advanced setup is generally going to take you a lot longer because if you look at this up here, this tells us what our progress is. We're not even halfway there, okay? And that's just setting up the company profile. Now, when we do the Express setup, again, you just put in the title and you have to build everything on your own from scratch, which is all right if you know how to do QuickBooks. But let's go ahead and proceed so we can try to finish this. And if we have time at the end of the day, I will actually show you the difference. All right, so here it says, yes, congratulations, you successfully have your QuickBooks thing for your business. So you're going to go ahead and click next. Now here's where it's going to start asking you a series of questions. So first thing is, what do you sell? Do you sell services only? Do you sell products only? Or do you sell both products and services? And in this case, so again, when you're determining your business, like, well, what do you sell? That's like pretty much your main core of your business. Like, what is your business and why do you have this business? So in this case, Academy Photography is both a service and a products. So we sell the actual picture frames and we actually sell service as the photographer, right? We have a special photographer that takes the pictures for you, and in return you get to have all of the photos, but you can choose, if you choose a package, you get to take home a professional photo, whatever you want to call it. So yes, we decided that we want both. Okay. Now it's going to ask you, the next thing is, do you charge sales tax? Now, what QuickBooks will have is on the side, as you can see in orange, it's going to give you recommendations because they're assuming that when you're doing the initial start, you're not very familiar with QuickBooks and you're just a beginner company, right? Again, for the more advanced people, they don't even need any of these things because they should already know these kind of things. So this is just giving you recommendations on what they think you should have. If, because we selected that we do sell a service and product, the question is, are you going to charge sales tax? And because we do sell a product, of course, we need to have sales tax. Next is, do you want to create estimates? Okay. Usually what an estimate is if you have a potential client that wants to get estimates on a specific product or a specific service, this is what an estimate is. So if you have a potential client that's like, oh, how much is it going to cost to have one photographer, and then how much they charge per rate? Like, what is their hourly? Is it $10, $15? Now this is very expensive. It's about like $300 per person, but per hour. But this is where they can come and call us and say, I would like it for an estimate. And what we're gonna do here is, yes, we want to be able to provide estimates for our customers. Okay. Now it's going to say using statements in QuickBooks. It's just going to ask us, are we going to be using billing statements in QuickBooks? Obviously, we have our clients, so obviously we're going to have, yes, we are going to be billing them. Okay, and then the next question is going to ask for progress invoicing. Now, because we selected yes for estimates, and what progress reporting is if you've created an estimate, what you can do is, this progress invoices, can you measure a entire estimate and break it up in increments? And this is exactly yes. because we said yes to estimates, and progress invoicing go hand in hand. So this also allows us to take that estimate and be able to transfer to, yes, this person wants to potentially have this. Yes, they want to be billed here. So in other words, it's like saying the customer wanted a quote. Now they're verifying with us. Yes, they want the service. Okay, so typically it says no here, but because we have estimates, you definitely want to say yes to this. Okay. Now the next part is going to be managing bills on your managing bills that you owe. Okay, so it's going to basically it's asking you, well, do you need to know the vendors? Obviously, yes, you need to know your vendors and XYZ, right? If you're receiving a bill from any random person, right? You obviously had some service done, or you requested them, or maybe they're independent contractor. You use them for a job, whatever it is. So you need to start that you're going to get billed, okay? And the question is, do you want to keep track of your bills? Of course, you need to, because that's the whole purpose of QuickBooks. We want to utilize our billing tracking system. This is supposed to make us the way that we keep track of our bills, the way that we keep track of our inventory. We want to make it as easy as possible. So yes, of course, we definitely want to utilize some kind of bill tracking system that's going to allow us to make sure that we are aware of our bills and also make sure that we pay them on time. Okay, so yes, we definitely want to utilize that system. Then the next question is going to be tracking inventory in QuickBooks. Because we recognized that we said that we sell services and products, therefore, this question pops up saying, hey, are you going to be having inventory? And if you do, then you need to select yes. So if we chose service, this wouldn't pop up because services don't really require to have inventory. So that's why every step that you do, it can either multiply into more questions or it can just go into one straight line. In this case, because we do sell a product, the question is asking, well, do you want QuickBooks to keep track of your inventory? And of course, that's the whole purpose of this. Yes, I want for them to keep track of inventory. Then the next question is going to be asking, are you going to be tracking time in QuickBooks? Because we selected service, yes. So what is tracking time? All right, so again, if you have employees, that is a perfect example of how you can keep track of time. Because employees, right, they have a timesheet if they're wages, obviously. If they're wages, they need a time card, so they need to keep track of their time for work. Same thing if we have independent contractors, right? So our services is based on an hourly rate. So this is something that we need to make sure that QuickBooks can keep track of our time and that we can actually pay them for their service. So same thing for a consulting group, right? You're not paid based on the what you're asking the question. You're based on an hourly rate, and that's what you need to keep track of time for. This can also lay into this can also go into personal things. For like example, you need to work on this big project for your company. But because we understand that you're being paid salary, but you can separate an expense to be paid for a specific project, right? Because a project is separate from your actual daily job and duties. So what you can do is you can track how long it takes you to complete an actual project, and what you can bill the company or keep track of for yourself. How long did it allow you to do this, and you can get additional pay for it. So yes, because even if we didn't have a service, it's good in case you do have those kind of necessity things such as those projects, you definitely want to have, you would definitely want QuickBooks to keep track of the time. So, yes. All right. Next is going to ask is, do you have employees? Now, this is weird because a 1099 is not an employee. But for some reason, QuickBooks recognizes a 1099 as an employee. And the question is, well, that's why you, before even setting up this entire thing, you got to ask those questions. Do you have employees? And if you do, are they regular W-2 workers or are they 1099? In this case, like I said, I don't know why they have 1099, but I'm going to say yes, we do have W-2 workers, and yes, we do have 1099 employees. Okay? Now, if you're a small company and you're the sole proprietor, you can actually not have employees. However, the one rule thing is you can't, if you are, I'm so sorry, who is that?
Who's drilling in the back?
That was through the break too.
Okay, well, could you kindly please mute yourself if you guys are the one that's doing it? All right. Anyways, going back to this, sorry, can you guys see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So, again, going back to employees, yeah, so 1099 are actually not employees. They're independent contractors. So I don't know why they have this under employees, but I guess they're just saying, well, do you have 1099 workers? And if you do, then please select it. So what's going to happen is it's going to give you options to have their tax ID on there because they're independent workers. Okay, and this is also these independent vendors, independent workers are going to be considered vendors to you guys. Okay, so yes, again, if you are a sole proprietor and you are the owner of the business, unfortunately, you have to actually pay someone to do your books. You cannot actually do your books yourself. But you can keep track of the books because you have to authorize all the expenses and whatnot. But you yourself cannot do your own books if you're a sole proprietor and you're the owner of the business, okay? Make sure that you guys understand that. Not that you need to pay for an employee to do your books. You can just pay them as a 1099 contractor to just quickly do your books for the end of the year. Yeah, you can do that, but just make sure that you are aware that if you are a one-man show, you cannot do your books yourself. So yes, you're going to have to encounter someone to do a 1099 for you. And yes, I do have someone that's going to be on staff for me to answer any phone calls, book appointments, whatever you want to do. Next. All right, so now it's going to ask you accounts in QuickBooks. So this is going to be part 3, I believe. So this is, so you guys remember, the very first thing that you need to do is you need to, before you can do anything for your business or company or journalize any transactions, is you need to set up your chart of accounts. And this is exactly what we're going to be doing right now. Okay. Now, here it's going to be setting up exactly, this is the portion where we're going to start setting up your company, where we're starting the date and starting to set up our accounts. So here, the question asks to select a date to start tracking your finances. So again, this is going to be your official start date. Now, they do say if you choose a date, you want to choose the day, always the last day of the last month you've did your business, I guess, whatever you want. Basically closing out the period. You never want to start on the day, because if you start on the day, basically you lose that whole day and you have to backtrack and put all the information for that one day. So they always recommend you to do the last day, usually the last day of the last month, which is December 31st. So you can start your company out on January 1st. Now here it's going to ask you, well, do you want to do the beginning of the fiscal year or do you want to actually choose a day? Now, again, you do not have to start your business on January 1st. Okay, you can have the option to choose a day where you start your company at any given day, but it's always the last day of the previous month. So in this case, I'm already in June, so I'm gonna end it. It's like June 3rd right now, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna start my business on in June. So I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna toggle it again. It has to be the last day of the previous month. Okay, when you ended all your periods and you ended all your what do you call it? You wrapped up your company at the end of the period. You wrapped up all their stuff, so you're starting out with your expenses and your revenues at 0. However, you have your bank account all set up and ready to go. So here, I'm going to set up that I want to start on June 1st by selecting May 31st. Okay? Any questions on this rule? It's a bit confusing, but when you start getting used to it, you'll understand why it's important that you have to start the day of the last day of the last month. Okay, so now this is where we start setting up our chart of accounts. Now, because we selected that we are a service and that we sell our products, right? This right here is a generic list of accounts that we can choose from that will automatically populate for you. Okay? Now, obviously, if you're a small business, you're not quite sure what you're going to have, that is completely fine. If you've already an established business, then you should know all the accounts that you need. But in this case, I'm a fresh new person in business. I don't have a clue. So here they give you kind of like ideas on what your company should look like. So again, because we said that we sold products and we have and we sell services, first one that's highlighted is already sales. Okay, so that's good. We need that. Do we need to have royalties? Not really. Do we need to have show and exhibit turn fees? No, we don't need that. Do we need advertisements and promotions? Yes, that would be ideal. Do we need a subcontractor service? No, we don't. We don't need that. Bank service charges, most likely. Automobile expenses, I'm going to say no for that one. I'm going to have my workers use their own cars. Computer and internet expenses. I'm going to say no to that. And then now it's going to ask you, do you want depreciation expense? That is a given, especially if you have any fixed assets in your company. But right now, I don't have any fixed assets. I have a computer. Actually, we could keep that. So then there's also dues and subscriptions. No, we don't have a subscription available. And basically, you could pick and choose what accounts you think it's necessary for your company. So travel expenses, okay. Telephone expenses, okay. So again, they have all of these accounts. Now these are preset generated accounts. If you have a specific account that you use, we can create that later on when we actually move on to customizing our QuickBooks, we can actually manipulate, change our chart of accounts at any given time. All right. So I've already went through some of these, and I selected a few that I would like to have. Again, these are not permanent. You can change it if you realize you don't need them at the end of the day. All right. So I'm going to click next. Now it tells me, congratulations, right? You successfully completed and you've created your company profile. And I'm going to go ahead and click go to setup. All right. So here we are completing this. And again, now it's going to ask us to set up our bank account and to set up any additional people, products, or things that we sell. Now, normally, we don't want to set up the first two, just because we want to be able to. We're going to be learning that via chapter in the later chapters. But I do want to set up my bank account. That should be That should be the first thing that you should set up, is your bank account. And usually my computer freezes at this part. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bank. All right. So my bank, obviously, you're going to need your bank account. And you're going to need your account name and stuff. So I'm just going to try to just make one up. So I'm going to say I bank at National Bank. Actually, let's use an actual common one. I go Wells Fargo. All right. And I'm going to name this bank Wells Fargo Checking. All right. You can have multiple banks and multiple checking accounts. Here, I want to say my account number is, geez, I can't remember how many numbers is it. I think it's 12 if I'm not mistaken. I think so. And then it's going to ask you what the opening balance is. Now, when we go into opening or creating our files, the number one thing that is recommended is, especially when you're dealing with opening your bank. Now, this number opening balance is, you're going to find this on your bank statement for May 31st. Since we're starting in June, I want you to go, for the sake of this, obviously, problem, we don't have it. But in general, when you're setting up your bank account, make sure you get the most recent, latest update from the account. But you also want to make sure that it goes along the same lines as what you are planning to start your business on. So in this case, I'm just going to make up a random number because I don't have one. I'm going to say I have $12,000 in my bank right now. Okay. Okay, opening balance is 12,000. Opening balance date, and again, I'm going to say this is going to be May 31st. Okay, so remember, no typing in dates. Everything that you do, there's a little mini calendar for you. So again, if you have multiple banks, in this case I don't, I'm just going to have that one Wells Fargo's checking account. And I'm just going to recognize this is it. And I'm going to go ahead and proceed to continue. All right. Then it's just going to ask you, if you have more, then add more. If not, no thanks. Continue. Now that I got my bank account set up and I got everything else set up, so what's going to happen is it should populate the home page. Hold on. Let's add your bank account. I already did. I said no thanks. And it's opening a window for me. Okay, I'm gonna go remind me later. Go, oh, thank you, go away. Okay, so once we've completed all of that, it should take you to the home page. Hold on. Oh, okay, I guess I gotta click the continue button. All right. Then it's gonna say save time and you keep blah blah blah. Usually you'll have like little reminders like this that will help you. Oh, I think because I selected remind me later. I'm gonna say remind me in a week. Okay. So again, if you are done completely with this portion, you can go ahead and skip it or start working. Once you go there, everything should pop up the way as it should. Okay, you got your home page, you got your icon bar, you got your menu bar all at the top. Okay, so how was setting up a company? Feedback, anybody? Easy.
Should be easy, pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward, but you need to have all that information ahead of time. I mean, so you don't have to go back and do it again on a custom level. Okay, so they actually require a lot of information from you to start setting up your company. Now, again, here that means my entire vendor list is empty because I still have to put them in, right? It's all empty. My my vendor center is also empty. This is vendor. My customer center is also empty. So again, each one we will look into how to add it. All right, and then yes, if we go to our chart of accounts though, I am going to see that I have my preset list right here of my the ones that we were looking at when setting up the company. Okay. However, you can go back, add stuff, delete stuff, remove stuff. Okay, and this is part of, I think, chapter 7, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that is exactly how you set up a business. Pretty straightforward, easy as pie, as long as you have the information and you want to set it up and you know what you want to do. Again, the easy setup, the easy step interview is what they call it, is pretty much your guidance to create your company file. So all you have to do is just sit there and just fill out the form and answer the questions. Now, yes, you can actually change all of this. I think, let me see, I'm not quite sure if that's part of this chapter or not. But I can go ahead and show you. All right. So let's say I want to go back into my interview and change something. Okay, so unfortunately, you cannot go back into the interview and change something. So once you've answered the questions, you can't actually go back to the interview and change it. But however, let's say you did toggle something, you don't want to do time and billing anymore, you are able to switch it back and forth, okay? And how we do that now is you're going to go to your edit at the top of the menu and you're going to go to your preferences. Okay? So from here, everything that you filled out from the easy step interview, it's all here. Okay? So understand the difference. Once you've completed the interview, you cannot actually physically go back into the interview. You would have to fix those preferences via edit preferences on your computer. Okay? So, but what I have heard is let's say you're in the middle of your easy step interview, you can save it and go back to it later. But for most cases, it's a lot easier if you just can do it all in one go. because you kind of don't want to stop in the middle of something, do something, and then come back to it, and you're not going to remember exactly what's going to happen. So that's exactly why setting up the administrative password is very important, that you don't do it until you're for sure that you're not in the middle of something. So again, I was talking about timing and billing. So it's going to be according. So time and billing. Okay, we're going to be looking at company profile. And because we selected yes, that we want to keep track of time, if you decide to change it, you can always click no. Okay. And again, taxes. Yes. And then we said that we were charging tax. So here you can toggle that you can not sell. Here. Oh, my computer's freaking out. Okay. So here we were talking about dealing with here sales tax. Let's say I don't charge sales tax anymore for any reason. I don't know what it is. You can come here and you can toggle it off. Do you sell sales tax? I could say no. Okay, and it's going to gray out everything. So everything that we looked at into the interview, you can always change it here. All right. Let's say I want to change my basis into instead of accrual, I want to use cash. I want to use cash basis. So it is also in here via, where is it? Use accrual. I'll use account number. Ooh, hold on.
You want to go to the report to graphics there, Lynn.
Reports and graphics. Oh, okay. I thought it was accounting. Okay, so reports and graphics here. Okay, there you go. So you can either choose accrual or cash basis. Okay, generally, most small businesses, you want to start off with cash basis, just because it's very important that, to try to kickstart your company. You don't want people to owe you already, and you don't want to owe other people right away. Because that's also the determining factor. If you're a small business, who's going to want to invest in you if you owe so much money? So again, cash basis is generally what you should start off with, but for in this case, it's a well-established business, I'm assuming, so I'm going to keep it at accrual. So again, all this information is all toggled here, okay? Any questions about the quick setup and how to go back and fix what you wrote in the interview? Okay. All right then. I'm going to click OK. So again, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and yeah, there's not much here. But let me go ahead and check the book and see what else I can show you today. So here we already set up our bank account, and account types, account number. Okay, we don't need that. Let me see how far we are. We are on page 336, and we're 12 out of 50. Whoa, we're only 12 out of 50. Let's just keep going and see what else I need to show you. So I've pretty much gone and explained every single thing as part of, oh yeah, I do. Oh, okay, so I do show them the edit preferences. Okay, so good. So I showed you guys how to get through that and how to do that. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and dive right in and show you how to actually edit your chart of accounts, because that is the very, very first thing that you're supposed to be setting up anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay, so again, can you tell me the two ways we looked at this yesterday. Can you tell me the two ways we can get to the chart of accounts?
On the home screen here on the upper right,
A home page, good.
and then up on the gray bar,
Mm-hmm.
menu bar, thank you. It's been a while. Under, I think it's lists.
That's correct. List. Yes, chart of accounts is the first one. Okay. So again, we did look at this a little bit earlier. So again, I have a bunch of accounts that I may or may not use. Okay. So for this example, if I want to add something new, let's say I want to put in a service. Let me see. Let's go ahead and check our revenues. Number one thing is before entering in an account, you want to make sure that you don't have a duplicate or account that's already created. Now remember, depending on your position as well, are you the accountant or are you just the bookkeeper?
Bookkeeper.
Okay? If you're just the bookkeeper, you have no access to this. So what you can do is what I did was, because I'm the administrative of this company, I have the privileges to manipulate, to change, to add, to do whatever I want to my chart of accounts. Now, what you can do is, because QuickBooks Pro and QuickBooks Premier, I'm allowed to have at least up to 3 users on my end. For Premier, you're allowed to have at least 5. Up to 5 people have users. So what you could do is you could create a user profile, and what's going to happen is you could switch users. You could do create the user, and when you do that, you can limit on what they can do and what they have access to. That's a little more advanced QuickBooks, but I will let you know that because for the sake of this class, you have admin rights, okay? So here I'm gonna just make sure I have my sales here. I see that I have just regular sales and that's it. I don't even have a specific sale. And so what's gonna happen is what you can do is you can create a new account, either going down here, going to accounts, and you can create a new account. Create account. Okay? And then it's going to ask you a series of questions on how you... Wait, hold on. Problem. QuickBooks cannot delete the account. I don't want to delete it. I want to create one. Oh, I must have accidentally hit that one. Okay, so I want to create a new account. And what's going to happen, it's going to ask you a series of questions on, well, what kind of account is it? In this case, it's income. I want to create a service sales or service income, service revenue. They usually call it service revenue. And I'm going to say, well, I want it to be an income account. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And now it's going to ask you in depth exactly what do you want to name the account? Is it a sub account? And if it is, where does it fall under? In this case, it's actually, I want my service revenue to just be I'm gonna say I want it to be apart from my actual sales for my actual product. So I'm gonna make this a main account. So by you not selecting sub account, it's going to create this as a main account. Now I forgot to go look at what my account number is supposed to be. That's okay. You can always fix it another time, or you can always update it at any given time because we haven't used it yet. So we're okay with right here if we don't have an account number for it just yet. Description. I'm just, well, what is my service revenue going to be collecting? I'm going to say, for all photo shoots. That require a photographer. All right. Any notes to that? If not, you can go ahead and save and create a new account. So here, because I didn't have an account number, oh, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to toggle it to have account numbers. But anyway, so because I just created that, it's going to jump up right here. And because I identified it as an income, it's going to create a separate and its own line right here with its category, with its type as an income. So here I have a service revenue for all my for all my photo shoots, anything that has to do with time. Because it's not a product that I'm selling. It is my service. So again, we can, I want to say chapter 7 is when we look more into details for this one. Chapter 12 is just, I'm sorry?
Question, now that you have your account set up
Mm-hmm.
and everything, can you go back and toggle to have it automatically assign account numbers?
Yes, you can. So what you can do is, well, you go to edit and you're going to go to preferences. And from here, I believe it's account, if I'm not wrong. You go to the very first one, accounting, and it should be able to pop up the choice to use so here I want to use account numbers, right? Here, this is the one I was talking about. I want to use account numbers. If I toggle that and press save or press OK and save the changes, now right here it populates all the account numbers. And because I did not put an account number for my sales revenue, where'd it go? I think it's at the bottom. No, it's not. Ooh, I can't find my so here in my Wells Fargo, remember when we had this? I didn't assign it a number because I didn't know what my account numbers would look like. I'm trying to find my service revenue. Same thing here. We don't have an assigned number to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and edit this. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I look here. So if my regular sales is 47,900, I'm going to make mine 45,000. And how I do that is I'm going to edit this account. And now at the top of this, it's going to say right here, account number. And I want it to be 45,000. And what's going to happen is I click save. And here, now I actually have it via, right here. Sales. I have service revenue because I'm a photographer thing. Most of my sales or revenues is going to be based on my service to take photos. We're not our main core of our business isn't selling our products. It's selling our service. So that's why I made some kind of sequence that I like to use, and I chose 45,000. Okay. So here, just easy as that, I can toggle it right there. Now, if I don't want to use account numbers, I can go back to the preferences and change it the same exact way. And I would just rely on me memorizing what my accounts are. Now, if you are frequently use QuickBooks and you're frequently entering in all this data, you might start memorizing your account numbers. Now, again, what QuickBooks does for you is you don't need to memorize anything. All you need to do is type in and it will automatically fill it in for you. And that's the great thing about QuickBooks. You don't need to memorize anything. All you need to know is understand what you're doing. So whether you're entering a bill, okay, or billing a customer, right? You're billing them for the sales. Okay, and it's gonna automatically pull all this information for you. So, yes. Any other questions? Okay, so that is how you set up your chart of accounts. Now, I just want to confirm right now if chapter 12 is where I teach you how to manipulate your chart of accounts, or is it chapter 7? I believe chapter 7 is more customizing the actual platform and how it looks. So let me see if we're good on time. Okay, so right now it's 10:30. Okay, so what I plan to do is I'm going to go ahead and just teach you this concept of manipulating your chart of accounts. And then when we move on to chapter 7, which is next week, we can build upon it after that. Okay? So, yeah, so once we get here, right? Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do our company setup right now. So I'm going to actually come back to this later when we actually start building our profile. So I'm going to go ahead and close everything out, and I'm going to close my company profile. Let's go close your company. So again, everything that we just added in there, it's automatically saved. Okay? So I closed my company right now, so I'm waiting for the pop-up to show up. Sometimes my computer freaks out at this part, but I guess we're doing good. All right, so again, I want to show you the Express setup and how much more difficult it is if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm going to create a new company, and this time I'm going to do the Express setup, which is here. It's just the startup. So here it just says enter your email address. Well, wait, why do I need to enter my email address? Can I bypass this, Mr. Sanchez?
Let me see here. Yeah, I believe so.
Oh yeah, here, skip. Okay, so here now the same format's going to be the same, okay? It's just gonna ask you, well, it's just gonna ask you how to just set up your company profile. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay, yeah, so business name.
Yeah, your business names.
I'm gonna create one. I'm gonna say I'm the coffee shop. I don't know. Okay, so we're just going to create a fictitious one randomly, just so then I can show you how different it is when you're toggling between the actual setup and the Express setup. Here, industry. What kind of industry am I? I don't have a clue. You can get help me choose, and it will give you a list again. So I'm in the business of selling coffee. So is there a specific one? I think I just saw it. It just said sales.
There's a retail there.
Retail store. A retail shop. Okay, good. I'm gonna just click that and click OK. Because I don't know what my coffee shop, what real industry is it. There is no actual industry for selling just regular coffee. So I typically know that I'm some sort of retail store. Okay. Now it's going to ask you what my business type is. Well, I'm a sole proprietor. Let's just say that. Okay, so now it says employee identification number. Again, if you have one, this is for tax purposes only. It's also for you to make it easier for you to pull all the information so you can have it readily for taxes. So I'm going to go ahead and make one up. 5555641 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay. All right. And then business address. I'm just gonna say I have a PO box. PO box 52, or I guess that's fine too. City is going to be Las Vegas. My state's going to be Nevada. Where is NV? LAMNOV. 89140. I don't know. State, country is, is that. I'm gonna just make a random phone number. 702. I really hope that isn't a real number. 555 121412. All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and click next. And that's it. It just creates your company profile just as is. So, huge difference between express setup and detailed setup. So now that it's creating my company profile right now, and that was exactly what it says. It's straightforward. It is quick and easy. If you know how to use QuickBooks, this shouldn't be any issue with you. So here, I'm at a complete blank slate. I got, okay, so here, there, I'm just getting, this is just extra stuff, so let me close that out.
No, start working. Start working.
Oh, start working?
Down the bottom.
Okay, so same thing. So because I didn't so basically I'm starting at a fresh, clean slate. If I look at this, it looks nothing like what I built my profile last time, right? Last time I made sure that I had inventory, I had all those things. Here, it's telling me I only have one thing. I can only enter bills and I can only pay them, right? So I don't have any vendors. Here, it wasn't specific on what I sold, so I have assumed I have estimates. I can create invoices, and I can have people pay. And that's it. I didn't even set up, I have a few icons missing here. I don't have my bank set up. So I'm missing a lot of things here. Why? Because just like what we just did earlier, you're going to have to build everything from scratch. So if I go to my chart of accounts, I guess I have some things in here, but usually all this stuff, it's generic stuff that you normally would have in a business, like accounts receivable, but none of this is set up for exactly what I want. Okay? So again, you got nothing. You have to start from square zero or square one. So again, you would have to go to edit and you got to go to preferences, and this is where you can start customizing, fixing, edit, whatever you want to call it. This is how you customize your company profile to exactly what you want. So this is starting from square one, and that's it. Okay. So again, you're going to go to accounting. I guess I'm going to use accounting numbers. And then basically you're going to go through every single one. Bill. Okay, yes. Bills. Are you going to keep track of bills? Yes, of course I am. Automatically use credits. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So basically everything that you saw here is going to you're going to start from zero and start answering every single question via here. Okay? That's how you're going to set up your company, is going to edit preferences and answering and making sure that you toggle every single little tab here to make sure you customize your company file to exactly what you want it to be. And yes, so here I want to create a chart of accounts that has a few things that I want. So I wanted account numbers. All right. So again, what am I, a coffee shop? So my sales, I should have a sales. And in this one, I don't. So therefore, I need to go to my company preferences and I need to make sure that I have that in there. So it creates the account for you. So I believe it's inventory, items and inventory. You're going to select, yes, I sell, I need inventory. Okay. I need inventory. So I need to activate it. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click OK. And what that's going to do is it's going to change your profile settings. And check it out. If I were to go to the home page, it's also going to expand here. Now I actually sell inventory. I can sell products now. Okay? You see how one little detail that you selected can change the format of everything that you want? So just with that, I'm already having, I can already create, I can already request for inventory, I can receive inventory, and I can receive a bill for inventory. And then a few things I also need to toggle here is, well, if I'm selling a product, do I need to do sales tax? And that's where here, sales, okay? Am I going to sell something in my company? Yes, I am. Okay, so let me see, sales tax. Sales tax. Are you going to charge sales tax? Yes, I sell a product. I have to. And I'm going to click OK. Okay. So then that is where, oh, can I not do it? Okay, well. Add sales tax item. Okay, so I think so I would have to create an account for that one. So again,
you're gonna need to put down
the account number, right?
Yeah, the account.
Yeah, see, and I haven't even created the account yet. So here, sales tax. Okay, so I'm gonna call it a sales tax item. Okay, so yeah, so the I guess good and bad thing is when you're dealing with this, you have to, like I said, you have to go through every single tab and you have to fill it out one step at a time. And that's why with the easy step interview or the detailed start, it's actually way much more easier to set up just because, you know, it takes a lot of time for you to have to go back through all these edit preferences and have to toggle every single tab here just so then you can successfully have a foundation of what your company file should look like. So again, much easiest is going to do the detailed setup. But for more advanced users, what you can do is you can utilize Excel to help you build your company profile. So I can show you guys the options for that next time when we go into customizing our actual company profile. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through these. So other than that, any questions to this entire this entire thing? How to set up, how to do all that stuff? Okay, so I did show you both regular, the long one, and then the short one. I showed you both. Okay.
On my end.
Okay, so we're gonna go over the review questions real quick, so then you guys can get that idea going. Let me go ahead and find my PowerPoint for Chapter 12. Chapter 12 PowerPoint. I think I put the questions in here. If I haven't, please forgive me, but I'm pretty sure I did the questions for this one at least. Let's see. And I did not. Great. Good job, Lynn. All right, so we're going to go through the questions here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find the last page of the book. I think that was it, wasn't it? review questions. All right. So everyone, participation points. Let's go ahead and answer these questions together. Number 1, okay. Your company has decided to begin using QuickBooks. QuickBooks at the beginning of 2019. Well, let me get rid of this. Okay, so calendar year. All right, which is also the fiscal year, is the best to start. Oh, I'm so sorry. Is the best which one is the best start date for your company? If you are planning to start your company in the beginning of 2019, okay, so is it A, January 1st?
It is C.
C, December 31st of 2018. Yes, that is correct, especially if we're starting in the beginning of 2019 and we plan to do fiscal year beginning in January. Yes, December 31st will always be either the last day of the last month will always be the correct answer. Good, guys. Okay, number 2. So this chapter suggests that the best way to set up what is that? A/B? A/R? Oh, accounts receivable and accounts payable balances. Okay, in QuickBooks is to what? Do we enter the total? C. We got someone who says C. Use the special account called AR setup. Do we have that? I don't remember having an actual special account for that.
I say D.
Okay, so enter a separate invoice for each opening invoice. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that, huh? Oh wait, no, I think I did. To utilize the most up-to-date book, the one that had the last date for everything of that. Other than that, when you're setting up your account and you have an open balance, they generally suggest you to actually use one of those to set up your account. But what we recommend is you don't enter any balances in there. We recommend you that you take your actual bills and whatnot and you formally put them in there and insert them in as if you were starting 0 and you have that balance. You would have to actually put the bills in there to create those balances. Reason being is because if you've already, let's say for example, accounts receivable and accounts payable, if you insert something in there and you insert, let's say my accounts receivable right now is $12,000. It's not going to keep track of who owes you the money, and it's not going to keep track of when those bills are going to be paid. So that's why they suggest you to enter in separate invoices to establish your account balances. All right. Number 3, setting up a company file does not include A, changing business license, B, selecting the appropriate chart of accounts, C, adding accounts to the chart of accounts, or D, entering invoices.
A.
Let me see. Changing a business license. Okay. Yes, it doesn't ask you. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Changing. Oh my God. Obtaining a business license. Yes, that is not asked of you in the question. Yes, that is true. Number 4. Okay, a good example of a liability account is A, inventory, B, accounts receivable, C, advertising, or D, accounts payable. We actually didn't get to go over this. Okay. Um, liabilities are anything that you owe. And yes, accounts payable is a liability. Okay. So when we go into actually going into our accounts titles, so anything that you own, such as your money, your the items that you sell, you own it, right? Property, your equipment, property, plant, and equipment, land, anything that you can say that you own it is considered an asset. Anything that you owe, whether it's you owe some people money, you owe the government money via sales tax, right? You owe a truck loan, okay? Those are considered liabilities. So out of the three, the first one is inventory. Inventory, we purchase these assets, right? We purchase these, so we have the idea to sell them. So they are ours until they leave our hands and we completely sell them. So that's something we own. Accounts receivable, again, it's when we allow customers to purchase something, but they don't pay us right away. They're on an account. They pay us later. That's considered to us because we sold it to them. It's considered money that we have with those people because they owe it. They owe it to us. So it's considered an IOU, if more or less. Okay. And then C, advertising. Advertising, you don't own advertising. It's more of an expense for the company to promote your company. So it's something that you would pay for to operate your business. So that's considered an expense. And then lastly, accounts payable is when you create accounts with your vendors saying that, oh, I promise to pay you later. You're creating a debt, or you're creating a liability. You're creating an obligation. You owe them money. So, yes. I don't know where I said sales tax. I think I was in the more along lines for liabilities. Okay. So good. And then lastly, number 5, to ensure the accuracy of the information entered in during the setup. Oh, sorry about that. During the accuracy of during the setup, it is important to either A, know your retained earnings, B, verify that your trial balance matches the one previous. C, start at the beginning of the fiscal period, or D, know everything there is to know about accounting. This is to ensure the accuracy of the information that you've entered during the setup. What is the most important thing that you need to do to ensure that everything that you're putting in when setting up your company profile? Is it A, you need to know your retained earnings, B, verify that your trial balance matches at the end of the period, or C, starting at the beginning of the fiscal year, or D, know everything you know about accounting? Which one of those is the answer? Anybody want to take a wild guess?
Start at the beginning of the fiscal period.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. So if you start at the beginning of a fiscal year, right? Where is it that you're ensuring the accuracy of everything that you're putting in as far as the company? Like what proof do you have that's going to ensure that everything that you're putting in to set up your company, how is that going to ensure that everything is accurate by starting at the beginning of the period?
A, to retain earnings.
A,
It's D.
it's D. Know everything about accounting? No, you don't. You remember, you don't need to know accounting in order to do QuickBooks. So the answer is actually B. Okay. So this is something I actually I believe I skipped. It is part of opening your when you're opening your company and you have a balance or something in there. It is going to basically to verify is you want to make sure that your trial balance matches the trial balance that you entered into the actual QuickBooks. So more or less, this is proof that that you've entered everything into your company when you're setting it up, that everything matches. So if you're moving from paper to QuickBooks, that is one fundamental thing that you can verify that everything matches. Okay, retained earnings. Of course, you can know your retained earnings, but your retained earnings closes at the end of every period. So for you to know your retained earnings, it doesn't matter because it will change every single time. So how is that going to verify your data? Same thing with the starting at the beginning of the period. How would you know when you start the beginning of the period? What happened before that? What is that doing to help you ensure that your data is accurate? And then lastly, again, I already explained it. You don't need to know accounting to do QuickBooks. It just helps to understand what QuickBooks actually does for you. So B is the correct answer. The best way to verify is to make sure that your trial balance, which basically summarizes all your debits and credits to make sure that everything that you've inputted correctly. So if you put in your liabilities as your liabilities instead of accidentally putting it into a receivable, your trial balance should reflect it and should tell you that. Okay? So any other questions as far as chapter 12? I think I skipped around a few things, so be sure when you get your book to actually read upon everything that you see in here. And I will also go ahead and go over maybe some few things that I can show you on Monday. So again, tonight, if you get your book today, good for you. Go ahead and start reading up chapter 12 and also chapter 7, because 7 is what we're going to do on Monday. And yeah, if you're planning to get your book anytime this weekend, I will let you know for those who can't get. Text me if you're unable to get your book either today or tomorrow. And because they're going to let me know if you can come in on a Saturday and pick up the book. Now, I just want to make sure that you guys get your book. Please try to get your book so you can start reading and catch up. Again, there's a lot of details in here, and for the sake of the time being, and as well as just classroom time as well, we may or may not get through everything in this book. So it is your responsibility that you do read upon it. And if you want to, please ask me questions on, let's say, for example, right here in chapter 12, it says multi-user versus single user. I didn't teach you that, but if you have a question about it, please feel free to stop and ask me. So again, make sure you do your readings and make sure that if you have any questions, ask it. I don't think there is let me see.
What time does the school close for us to go pick up the book?
on side A, which is where the books are, it's going to be closed at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
So we go to the front office. Okay.
Yeah, go to the front office. If no one's in there or if it's locked, just go straight over to side B because Ellie and Elizabeth will be there. And Ellie's the only one that's actually admin that's available to go into side A and side B.
Okay. So,
So-
we'll go back and forth.
Yes, yes, yes. And make sure before you do go pick it up, please send them a generous call so they know what's going ahead of time so they can prepare everything for you.
Okay, sounds good. I'll pick up the book.
All right. So
And-
I tried really hard to push through so we can let you guys go early, but it's a lot earlier than expected. Yes, did you have a question?
Yeah, Lynn, I remember yesterday you showed your calendar
Mm-hmm.
With the chapters and the and the schedule, your
Oh,
own.
yes.
How do we go there? How do we go there so that we will have a guide?
Okay.
It's not the schedule on Orban. No, it's yours.
Yeah.
How do we go there?
Okay, so remember when we go to the classroom, right? You have 3 options on your screen. You should have stream. Stream is where
Yeah.
you chime in, right? You clock in, and this is where you're gonna find the meeting, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
go over one into Classworks, and
Okay.
and there you have some sections, and I put it under syllabus.
Okay.
Syllabus.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And you can print them out. So here is what you're talking about, right? This schedule right here, right?
Yeah,
Telling you
that's
exactly what you need to read.
right. Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. And this is exactly where you find it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, so it's 11 o'clock. I mean, what I can do is, it's Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go just because you guys don't have the book and I don't want for you to start off an exercise if you don't have the book with you. So, again, for if we do have extra time in class for whatever reasons and we have some extra time, again, I would encourage you to ask me those questions that we haven't covered in the book. And also, I encourage you to also be able to do these in class problems. For this one, it's pretty straightforward. All the information's right here, and for us to go over it again and again, it's pretty straightforward. They get this out for you. They give you the address and everything, and they pretty much tell you exactly what to do. So again, chapter 12 is probably one of the more easier parts introducing yourself into QuickBooks, just because you're just setting up the company profile. It's more of chapter 7 and anything beyond that, it's a little more difficult because we have to explore every single way and every single option you have to get to that same exact answer. So again, I do not want to spend any more time with chapter 12 because it's pretty straightforward. You guys pretty much know what to do. It's just filling out a form. It's not very difficult. Just making sure that you have all the information here. So again, I'm calling class and going to be done today at 11. So if you don't have any other extra questions as far as that, next week I will actually have you guys do a class journal, which I will go over. Possibly, I can go over it on Monday so you guys can have an idea of what to do when it comes to the class journal. But other than that, for now, you guys are pretty much done for the day.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you,
happy
Lynn.
weekend.